Hut, hike.
Welcome to the Into the Wild podcast. We have a very, very special guest joining us today. We'll be doing our Bears preview, and we are joined by the co-host of the Take the North podcast with Dan Wiederer, a radio broadcaster for 670 The Score, but most importantly, a Chicago sports media legend, Mark Grote. Thank you for coming onto the show. It's going to be a pleasure, and we're so excited to talk to you.
Wow. Had I known that there would be applause for me coming on, man, I would have come on a lot sooner than that. You didn't tell me that, Nadeem. Good to see Nadeem. Thanks for having me on. Wasé, good to see you too.
Absolutely.
I do appreciate too that I love backgrounds of podcasts. Usually when Wiederer and I do our Take the North podcast, we'll be at Hallis Hall and we'll be like in front of like historic stuff at Hallis Hall. Like the other day, Wiederer was in front of the Super Bowl 20 trophy, literally the trophy at Hallis Hall. And I'm looking at you and I'm seeing Mitch Trubisky. I'm assuming that's Mitch Trubisky, number 10.
Mitch Trubisky.
Not? Who is that?
That is Caleb Williams from last
my
year.
God. Holy cow. The 18 looks like a 0 on there. Wow.
Talking about old Bears
hilarious,
quarterbacks, I always keep my Jay Cutler jersey on me. Always.
I was a big Buddy fan.
And that's when I talked to prior to this. That's why I didn't like Steve Rosenblum that much, because he always used to lay it in him. And so I appreciate him now all these years.
It's funny, man, like that you bring up you hated Steve Rosenblum. I hate Steve Rosenblum too. Let's be honest here. No, I'm just kidding. No, he's a good guy.
Yeah.
Very hateable. He's a caustic personality.
Yeah.
That's just the way he is. But it is funny, like covering the Bears now. I mean, we get a lot of heat. We get a lot of heat if we say things about players that, your favorite players, man, the world of social media.
I can imagine.
I can imagine. War out on these streets, guys.
Yeah. So let's dive into that a little bit, because I think it's been very interesting the last couple of weeks that the way that the media has not only portrayed the little clips that you see at training camp, and then coming into yesterday's game with the starters getting their first reps on the year, what the narrative or the storm could have been had it gone poorly. But because they played very well, it went a different direction. So talk to us about the last couple of weeks of training camp. Obviously, we heard reports how Ben Johnson was yanking the first team off of the practice field in the first couple of days of training camp. And then we had the Miami Dolphins joint practice. There was a little unease there with the first team offense. And then yesterday and the Bills joint practice, we just heard great things about the first team offense. So talk to us about the progression and how that's going.
Yeah, I would say that it's been a slow progression. And here's what I always say, like when it comes to the offense and Caleb Williams, it like as it pertains to this specific scenario and this specific season, what I've seen out of Caleb Williams with my own eyes, for the most part, has been pretty bumpy. I mean, there's been some highs, but probably more lows than the highs. But what I say is I will tell you what I see on the field, but then you guys, Nadeem and Wasé, anybody listening, management, players, anybody that is within shouting distance, you can then put that into the soup of, this is a brand new head coach. He obviously had a horrible infrastructure last year in terms of what he was dealing with. New playbook, new defense, new players that are being worked in, new offensive line, even though that it appears to be a better offensive line. So you take that all in and everything has to be considered. With my eyes, it's been rough, but on the overall, considering what he is kind of going up against and where he has come from in his rookie year, there has been progression leading up to the 38-0 win over Buffalo. And that 7-play, 92-yard drive was just so important just to see that, to know it's there. And I'm not saying that's it. He has been unlocked and Caleb is going to, throw for 300 yards every game. No, but it was the progress that I needed to see. And I think a lot of Bears fans needed to see just to start feeling like it's going in a progressive direction.
Yeah. I mean, we saw probably just off the rip, right? You get the bad return on the kickoff, you get a holding penalty, but being able to overcome those things is something that the Bears really don't do historically. And although it is preseason, we have to pump the brakes, but just seeing Caleb play in structure, none of the plays in that 97-yard drive were those magic plays where he's evading the sack or running around the pocket, buying time. They were really structured, step up, one read, real quick read the defense type of throws. How impressed were you with what he did yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, specifically, like even just I'll just go through a few of the plays here. Even that first play of the game where Caleb Williams rolls right, finds Colston Loveland in stride. I mean, so many things about that. You're like, oh, that's good. That's good. That's good to see. Early work with the tight end, a completion on the first down of the game, which was a bear for him, pardon the pun, last year. It was tough. Those first drives were really tough for Caleb in the offense last year. But some of the situational stuff, 3rd and 15, or I guess it was 2nd and 15 to Loveland for the 17 yards. The touchdown to Olamide Zaccheaus was a 3rd and 5 play. 3rd and 5. And it turns into a 36-yard play. And then how about Cole Kmet up the seam, up the middle of the field, 29 yards? Those are things like that's why this was so heartening to see, is stuff that we were not seeing enough of last year. And you could just start guys at tight end utilization. I don't know about you guys, but last year when games would end and I'm hanging outside the Bears locker room, I'm looking down the stat sheet and I'm like, where's the targets for Cole Kmet? Now we got to ask Cole Kmet why he wasn't targeted again.
Yeah, and obviously all of this stems from Ben Johnson coming in and introducing a brand new offense. That all throughout the training camp so far, that Ben Johnson is throwing everything but the kitchen sink at Caleb Williams and this first team offense. Kind of going off of what we saw last year and all of the dysfunction we saw with the coaching staff between Eberflus, Waldron, even the Thomas Brown situation that they had going on. What are the biggest differences that you see with Ben Johnson and the previous regimes of Bears football?
I think that there is an exact plan, and I think that it's not all transparent. Obviously, they're not going to tell us everything, but they're allowing us to look through the window just a little bit to see backstage about what is going on. So I think that having a plan, being unafraid, I think is another distinction to make relative to last year's staff. They are unafraid to, as you brought up, Nadeem, at the beginning of the show, they are unafraid to pull the starters off the field for a set of plays. Ben Johnson, I don't know if you heard us reporting from OTAs, but I swear to God, the whole thing was about Ben Johnson yelling. You know what I mean? Yeah. Which in itself is sort of ridiculous. It's what we do and it's what we cover, and that's OTA stuff. I understand, but it is very distinct relative to the past regime. And the other thing that I could say, and I could probably go on a little bit longer too, but the big thing is that there's a respect factor. They know who Ben Johnson is. They know what Ben Johnson did. Unlike, and this is not, we've had plenty of fun with Flus, but they didn't know who Matt Eberflus was. I didn't know who Matt Eberflus was. You know what I mean? When they're like, wait a minute, Dallas Cowboys, who's he working for? What's this? Why do they want him? And that is the case with so many of the Bears hires, that this was a slam dunk in terms of, this guy, the resume is out there for everybody to see, and the Bears are, I think, in the best position they've ever been, at least in the modern era, going back to Wasé's guy, Jay Cutler. Even this is the most equipped that they have been to develop a young quarterback in my lifetime, probably.
Yeah. No, going off of what you mentioned about like the transparency, it's not all there, but like we never used to hear about these position battles in training camp. Like last week, it was, what's his name, Coach Rochard talking about the tackles and basically even giving an insight about our first round pick from 2 years ago, Darnell Wright, and how doesn't have the motor, he doesn't have the focus and whatnot. So it's like just going into that and like getting a understanding of, hey, this is where we're at and these are the things to expect, kind of like helps fans as well, like just come down to ground zero a little bit, if anything. Like now we know what our problems are and hopefully we can address them. But going off of that, like what do you make of the tackle situation going forward?
Well, I think my general thought on it is it's obviously not ideal. You'd want to have your offensive line all taken care of, and that's what the Bears said they wanted to do, that they would like to have it locked in sooner than later. Obviously, that would be ideal. But what I like about it, and I'll get to the specifics and the parts that are uncomfortable about it, what I like about it is that the Bears are actually holding an earnest, open competition. Like, we've heard about competitions at positions. It's a generalizing thing that coaches like to do. Oh, there's competition everywhere. Oh, yeah, there's a competition at the cornerback or the nickel back or the running back. Rarely do I feel like there's a true competition. In this case, unfortunately, they're being honest with us and telling us that nobody has taken this position.
Right.
And that's the good and bad part, that they're being honest about it. But Braxton Jones got the start at left tackle in the preseason, in the second preseason game. Now enters Theo Benedette as a competitor at that, right? It's crazy. Like
Crazy.
I think he's more of a motivator, a prop, if you will, to get things going. And I talked to Braxton Jones in the locker room, and it's interesting, sort of what he said. Because I said, "What do you think about the coaches basically saying to you, you're not cutting it yet?" And his response was, "Yeah, I get it," because he's a really thoughtful guy. But he also was like, "Hey, man, I had a nasty toe injury or ankle injury or whatever it was, foot, ankle." 9 weeks
Ankle, yeah.
ago, the ankle. Yeah, I knew
Yeah.
I'd get it. If I just kept saying body parts, I would eventually land at it, and you guys would make me look good. But that he said, look, I'm. He didn't say I'm just happy to be out here, but it was like I've been recovering this whole time, so kind of indicating that he's not 100%, or that he's still trying to get back into that football feel. And I know that doesn't make Bears fans feel any better because they're not closer to having somebody who they think is going to truly nail down this left tackle spot.
So, in regards to the left tackle spot, what do you think is going to happen out of it? Who's taking the job?
You know what? I do think it'll be Braxton Jones at the end of the day. Ozzie Trapillo is all but out of the competition now because they used him in that game. I did not see him play anywhere but right tackle. So again, the appearance of a competition at this point with Theo Benedette, I think Haran Amagaji is well out of the competition. So that says to me, if your rookie Trapillo is not ready, it's not going to be him. You just can't, unless there's something about Theo Benedette, like he's just like he's developed like this immaculate development over 1 year after a year where he was on the practice squad. And I got a lot of support for him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, good for him. This is not like, I am not indicting Theo Benedette in any way. It's like easy pickings, but I'm not. But it is, to me, almost ridiculous to think that they would put him in against the Minnesota Vikings on Monday Night Football. No.
Yeah, we don't want another Karan Amagaji situation happen to Theo Benedette.
We do not want another Karan. Yeah. God bless Karan Amagaji last year, but in Minnesota last year, that was not the right thing to do.
Yeah. And the way they handled it afterwards, just basically benching him, I was like, oh man, it's just not a good morale booster for a player. God, that last year was awful.
I mean, it's a bad. It's a bad morale booster, but the whole thing, like it's starting to head towards that nasty word of Bustville because he was a 3rd round pick. And I don't know, maybe you guys could. I don't know if can a 3rd round pick be a bust, or is that just designated for
Velus Jones?
Picks? Okay.
What do we think about Velus Jones?
Yeah, that was pretty busty.
Yeah, and Zach Pickens
busty,
is on his way too. And that leads me to my next question.
Exactly.
Ryan Poles
or Zach Pickens.
Yeah. Like, what do you think of him this far into the roster building?
I mean,
construction, in the process that they so talk about all the time.
Yeah. Oh, you mean like Ryan Poles in the process that he's?
Where are you with him?
Yeah, I mean, you know where I am with him.
Yeah.
My eyes are open. You know what I mean? Like I'm willing to not be. I mean, when it needs to come up, I'll talk about it, but I don't have to dwell on past misses. I'm all for looking at the situation. We know the misses, we know the hits for Ryan Poles, and the misses are probably more at this point, but I am allowing myself to look at this roster, this quarterback who I haven't given up on, this offense with the addition of Luther Burden, with Roma Dunze going into his 2nd year, with Colston Loveland being here, and he moves differently. I'll just say that when I watch Colston Loveland with my eyes. Another year of Cole Kmet. Obviously, DJ Moore, you got to get that chemistry better. But I'm rattling off players that all 3 of us sit here know. These are talented guys, like guys that you can make a case for. So I guess it's a pretty vague answer with Ryan Poles, but I am allowing him to show me what he has in order to move this thing forward and leave some of the mistakes in the back.
Yeah, going off of that point with the additions of Colston Loveland and Luther Burden, and we saw it yesterday. There are so many guys to distribute the ball to where you have 2 primary tight ends. You have 4 receivers with the addition of Olamide Zaccheaus in the camp that he has had. How is this offense really going to take shape? I think we're kind of seeing it, and no one really has talked about it, but is DJ Moore kind of finding himself as the odd one out? Could there be a trade in the future because Luther Burden has that DJ Moore skill set? What are your thoughts on this conglomerate of this offense?
Well, I guess it depends on how fast Luther Burden develops. And he is finally beginning to progress and look good. I know that I've actually watched the TV copy because I was at the game last night, but I do understand that that Ryan Poles was praising the blocking when he was up in the booth of Luther Burden. As far as DJ Moore is concerned, I still think that he's going to be the Bears' leading wide receiver. Some of my colleagues out at Hallis Hall, we debate these things and they disagree, that I think probably more people have said that they think it should be Rome Odunze. I think that would be ideal. I mean, you like that idea of these two players in their second year, Caleb Williams and Rome Odunze, developing together. It seems natural. I just think that DJ Moore continues to be, at this moment, guys, the only wide receiver who really knows what he's doing in every single capacity of the game, even if he doesn't pull it off perfectly every time. But it will be interesting. And I've been asking the same question since about, probably the beginning of camp. Like, it's great that Ben Johnson and that Declan, they have this wonderful card of offensive players to work with. But it's going to take some testing and figuring out where everybody is comfortable and who's going to thrive, and is spraying the ball around to 8 or 9 different wide receivers or ball catchers as they're called now. Is that going to be sufficient, or do you need to narrow it down for the sake of Caleb Williams? So that's all stuff that we'll figure out.
Yeah. It just, for me, it's like
before we
for me, just the investment that we have in the skill positions. Like, Colson is a first-round draft pick at a tight end. It's pretty rich as a 10th overall pick. And then DJ Moore coming off with a $30 million contract, and now you have Rome and Luther Burden, high capital guys. It's like, you kind of want, for me, like, I'm in the boat where I want to trade DJ because there are folks in the league considering next year's draft is not as heavy in wide receiver as like this past year's was, and this past year's wide receiver class was whatever. And so for me as a GM, and that's why I'm questioning, like Ryan Poles, is like, do we want to take advantage of DJ getting traded early and then getting a first round pick back for him, or a second round pick, what have you? And so my mind is like, hey, we should just trade a lot of these guys, considering that maybe this year isn't the year that we're ready to perform in the bright lights of being a playoff team. So I'm of the belief that, hey, let's cut some of the fat and look forward to next year.
I like the outside of the box thinking on that, and I don't know that is going to happen, because I think that they, like in this year, because I just think that in a year that is so important for Caleb Williams, to give him every possible, like, the Bears don't want to do what they have done in the past, and that is, at least the perception has been there, that they have done past quarterbacks dirty and that they didn't put the right players around them, didn't give them a chance. We went through all that with Justin Fields and Mitch Trubisky, and maybe even this, and definitely to a large degree, and maybe the largest degree, with Jay Cutler, because of the offensive lines that they would put in front of him. Like, I still remember him getting sacked 9 times in the first half of a New York Giants game. You remember that, right? 9 times. Yeah, that was a traumatic thing. Yeah. Who was it? Who was his left tackle?
Jamarcus Webb. Jamarcus Webb.
My God.
Yeah,
you just went Jamarcus Walker on me. Yeah, that is a throwback name. Where were we here? What was I talking about?
Just talking about like what
DJ.
DJ.
Oh, the DJ Moore. Yeah.
Trimming the fat.
Yeah. No, I think, like, you got to have everybody around him. Like, there can't be any single excuses. And I've been saying this too, like, in terms of big moves for the Bears, like the giant moves, I still think that those will come probably next year. And I'm not ruling anything out. Like, it's possible the Bears pull a surprise party to acquire assets, or to acquire somebody that could help them, say, to get to the quarterback still. So I am not ruling out what you're saying in any way, shape, or form, Wasé. I just think that this is one of those times where you got to have everybody on deck, unless they get the deal of a century for somebody like DJ Moore.
Of course.
Hey, Mark, I have a follow-up question to this. So, first and foremost, I apologize for coming in late here. I had a meeting right before this.
Yeah, they were talking pretty nasty about you, man. So
they do it to my face, Mark.
These Lions fans.
Yeah,
these Lions fans, Mark. Yeah. Let me tell you.
And and it's funny because I feel like I'm the realistic person here, and these two guys feel like they're the realistic people of the crew here. But I do want to ask you a question here now. It's kind of in line with Wassey's question about trimming the fat. In my opinion, when Ben Johnson was hired, the Bears went out and they spent quite a bit of money. They invested heavily in the offensive line. They went out and they invested capital into the skill players in the draft. Why did Chicago go so heavy this offseason? And I have an idea here, one of two things. One, the Bears are ready to compete and ready to win. They want to get into the playoffs. They want to win the NFC North. Or two, they think that these investments and the skill players and the offensive line, this will help Caleb develop. Is it one or the other, or is it both?
Yeah, I mean, probably both. But my initial answer to that is I'll give you a slightly different answer. All those things are right. But the interior of their offensive line under Ryan Poles every single year has been troublesome. You know, that talk about waste. They went out and got Nate Davis. We all know exactly what that was. I think of somebody like Lucas Patrick, who, you know, they gave was it a 2 or 3 year? I think it was a 3-year contract they gave to him for some pretty decent, it wasn't over the top money, but he was supposed to be the heart and soul of that interior. Tevin Jenkins, who I got a lot of love for, but Tevin Jenkins was up and down, and, you know, he was good when he was healthy. And the center position has just been a general bugaboo for the Bears under Ryan Poles, whether we've seen Cody Whitehair out there, Sam Mustipher. Well, finally, they're just like, screw this. Let's go get the best center, Drew Dahlman. Let's go get one of the best left guards ever in Joe Tooney. And you know what? While we're at it, let's throw in Jonah Jackson. So I think that's number one. Why? Like, it has been a pain in Ryan Poles' ass basically since he's gotten here. So get that taken care of. And then, of course, in the name of, as we were just talking about here, in the name of making Caleb Williams whole, giving him every area that he can succeed in is possible. Like it's possible. Like, one of the things with Caleb Williams is that obviously he wasn't necessarily plug and play thrive in his first year. And they're figuring out spots that needed to be better for him in order to thrive. And one of those is the interior of the offensive line. So I, for one, I'm like, when I'm out there at Hallis Hall, one of my favorite things to watch when we're on the fields and on the sidelines is just to be like, okay, good. Don't have to worry about the interior of their offensive line. I don't have to give the Nate Davis update. I don't have to give is Ryan Bates going to be the center? Oh no, it's Coleman Shelton. I don't have to do that. Those three guys are in there, and, you know, assuming they're not injured, it's what it's going to be.
What a
So this is
time.
a play for stability and continuity then.
Yeah, continuity is a great word. That's a great word for this. And that's what they're thriving for with this left tackle competition. They want to get this thing nailed down and have the correct people in their places. I'm sorry, guys. We're having a rough day in downtown Chicago. I don't know if you guys hear the there's
No,
some sort of ruckus going on outside of my place right
No
here. So
worries.
we're giving you some real nat sound here of the great big beautiful city of Chicago.
So, in the name of continuity, just off of that, do you think that if Braxton is to win this job outright, that he gets an extension this year?
Wow, that's a great question. My gut is, I mean, unless they really don't think Ozzy Trapillo can play left tackle, like if they're concerned, or Theo Benedette, and I think that they let him go probably, because I think that somebody else would be more interested in paying him more than the Bears. I mean, I honestly don't know what his value would be to other teams, but I would imagine that the Bears would be ready to probably, because Braxton Jones has been a good player for the Bears. Like, there is, you can improve that position. I mean, that's why we are where we are with the left tackle, because they look at Braxton Jones and say, you've done a great job. Thanks a lot, but this is for real now. So my gut is that he moves on unless they determine that it's just not going to happen for Trapillo at left tackle.
And then another position that we can potentially improve upon, especially next year, what it seems like, because they haven't really made any significant moves, is running back. I think that's the one area of the team that just causes so much concern, because we saw with DeAndre Swift last year, we saw the Ben Johnson offense in Detroit. There seems to be this idea that Roshan is playing his way out of being that thunder to the lightning of Swift. What have you heard in terms of the running back situation? And is there areas of improvement for this season, or is that something that they're punting to next year?
Yeah, well, I mean, I'll even take you back further, because I was out at Hallis Hall for the draft, the War Room, which is out there. And, you know, a lot of us in the core media, well, we were essentially told that it's probably a pretty good thought process that the Bears did want to draft a running back. That we all know what happened in the draft. It's like, once the running backs started going, the running backs started to go, and it didn't happen. So I think they were surprised. The Bears were. They were surprised that they didn't come out of it with an upgrade at the running back position. So now you have DeAndre Swift. You mentioned the Roschon Johnson thing. He's banged up right now. I still think he's ahead of Kyle Monungai. I do on the depth chart, just because I don't think Monungai knows the blocking assignments real well yet. And again, if we're looking towards that Minnesota game, you guys know, and I know, that they need to know your blocking assignments against that defense. So I do think Roschon is still ahead. And I can't believe you left out the great Ian Wheeler. I mean, 2 touchdowns. What do you got against Britt? Why do you hate Britton Brown? I mean, 73 yards. No, I mean, it was good to see those guys try, but I'm kidding, obviously.
Yeah.
The DeAndre Swift thing is going to be interesting. Can second time through, can Ben Johnson get out of him what he has gotten out of other running backs in the past? And, if Ben Johnson is to be that guy, I think there should be some culpability. Like, hey, you're here to make players better. You're considered already, the way you're paid, one of the best coaches in the NFL. So make it work. Make it work.
Oh, wow. And do you think there would be any draft investment, like a high draft capital investment next year in running back?
Well, again, obviously, depending on how it goes this year, can Ben Johnson work that magic? And if he can, then I don't think that they would. They'd be like, okay, we can do this without having to get the hybrid guy.
Yeah.
But if they don't, the answer is probably yes. They probably, because they thought about it in the first round this year. Why is his name not coming to my head right now? Who was the top?
Jeremiah Love?
No,
Ashton
Genty.
Yeah.
They supposedly, and I don't have this confirmed, but they reportedly, they were interested in Ashton Genty for sure. So going off of that, I know the Bears were interested in a second round running back. I guess, again, if things are where they are right now next year, then yeah, we could probably see something like that.
All right. So that about does it for the questions that we have. Now I just want to go into the full season preview for the Bears. What are your expectations? And then who is a player that you are confident is going to ascend this year? Who is a player that you think may fall off? And then your record prediction for the season.
Oh boy.
Hey, Mark, I do have a favor to ask you. When we're going through the
Yes.
record prediction, do you mind if we bring up the schedule? Can we go game by game with you? Is
I
that
don't care.
okay?
If you guys got the schedule in front of you, I'm down with it.
all right, let's
I don't
do
have
it.
I
Let's
don't
do
have
it.
Actually, this would be helpful for me too, because I think I had the Bears with like 11 wins or something like that the first time we did. But it's just so exciting when that schedule comes out. I can't sit there on schedule day and give the Bears a bunch of damn losses. It's not going to happen. I'm not going to give them 10 straight losses. But I was going to say, like, the player that I'm wondering about in terms of maybe descending or maybe not going in the same direction, it's ironic I'm going to say this because they're one of the best plays of the game, is Cole Kmet, just because of Colston Loveland. And we know, like, Ben Johnson uses a lot of 2 tight end sets. We all know that. But guess what? The other tight end in his Detroit offense didn't get a whole lot of balls thrown to him, did he? So I do wonder about that. He's such a Bears type of player. Like, they really love the way he works and all of that stuff. So I figure that he'll still work his way in, but I do wonder what'll happen there. As far as an ascending player on the Bears, I'm probably going to go with Roma Dunze, because even though Roma Dunze had 800 plus or 900 yards, something like that last year, it didn't feel like it. It just didn't feel like it to me. And maybe I'm spot on, because obviously it's 17 games, so we kind of grade wide receivers differently on that 1,000 yard scale. It just didn't feel like there were enough moments of chemistry and big plays that we should expect out of a first round wide receiver. So I think he's the ascending guy this year. And then what was the third part of that? Was that the record question, or the how far will the Bears go?
No, just what are your thoughts on this season overall? Do you think that this is going to be a team that's heavy on offense, heavy on defense?
Oh, gotcha.
You've seen in training camp, and then how good do you think this team can be?
Yeah, I think I say unfortunately, but I still think the defense is going to be the part of this team that is, especially early, that they're going to need to lean on and depend on. And trust me, I'm old, but I don't like saying that it's the Bears defense. It has to be about Bears defense and running the football and all that kind of stuff. We all want to see the offense pop, but from what I've seen of this defense in camp, for what I've seen in the preseason games, And from what I know about Dennis Allen and getting to talk to him a little bit, it does feel like the Bears have this defense back on track, kind of where it was in the first half of last season when we were all kind of raving about Matt Eberflus and his ability to call plays. And then obviously it went bad last year. So I do feel better about the defense. I do feel better about the Bears offense than I did going into last year. But it is truly wait and see for what the Bears offense does.
All right. And then let me pull up this schedule
The schedule.
and we can get into it.
Oh boy.
So, like Wasé said, when we first looked at this schedule, we just saw it was a mess. It was just so difficult from top to bottom. It was rated the second hardest schedule, tied with the Lions in the NFL, completely on strength of schedule. But then something happened last week. I had a certain epiphany when I saw the way that most of the teams are actually trending. We're hearing reports that JJ McCarthy is still kind of getting up to speed with the Minnesota Vikings.
Sure.
And the Green Bay Packers didn't really make any moves of note other than signing Aaron Banks to a massive deal. And, signing a guard as your main move in the offseason usually isn't the recipe for success. Well, let's go through it. Let's go. Week 1, Minnesota. What are your thoughts? Monday Night Football.
Monday Night Football, the Chicago Bears and the Minnesota Vikings at Soldier Field. Oh boy, let's see. The Bears. I hate to do it. The Bears are 0-1. I just think that.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I think the Bears are going to lose that game. There's just been too many times to begin years for the Bears against good teams.
True.
And things don't go well early, even at almighty Soldier Field. So, yeah, the JJ McCarthy thing is interesting. I mean, that could obviously change the whole structure of what the Vikings are doing for better or for worse, but I don't have a great feeling about it.
Yeah, the news that broke out this week of Vikings camp is that Jordan Addison got suspended for 3 games. Justin Jefferson is coming back to practice with his hamstring injury, so it just seemed like the vibes are a little shaky in Minnesota. If the Bears can kind of build off the momentum of yesterday, maybe they could steal one in week 1.
Yeah,
but then week 2, we head over to Detroit.
Oh boy. Yeah, we're in Lions territory. How about
All right, tread softly, okay? Hold on, tread softly. let's not make any rash decisions here.
Oh man, this one is wild.
Ben Johnson's return to
it'll be hyper. It'll be hyper. Yeah. I don't even know how to choose
I'm
this
more
game.
mad that this is a 1 p.m. game. This is prime time to me. I don't know what's going on there. This is Sunday night.
Give you know what? The Bears are going to be trying way harder in that game. You know what I mean? Like it just, like going in, like Detroit's good. They're better. They are better than the Bears. I hate to pander to your guy here, but they are. they are. But I think the Bears are gonna like Ben Johnson, man. He's already laid the gauntlet. He's going in there, and the Bears are gonna shock the world and beat the Detroit.
Let's go. Okay,
like
1-1.
Let's go, Mark.
There you go.
That's not the win we had in the first 2 games, but a win will do.
I'm doing this in real time, guys, so I'm just making shit up.
All right, you're coming off of a huge shock the world type of win against the Detroit Lions, coming back home, facing the depleted Dallas Cowboys who don't know what they're doing with their best pass rusher on their team. What's happening in Chicago against Dallas?
Oh my God, guys, letdown game. The Bears are going to lose that game because guess what? Guess who's going to be trying harder that week? A guy by the name of Matt Eberflus is going to be trying. He's going to be trying super hard that week, and it's going to be all for Matt. All for Matt. That's what Dallas will be saying. It'll be on Sports Talk Radio. This is Flus week, man. We're doing it for the Flus, and the Flus will get his. And plus, we all know Dallas. Like they always play really well early in the season and collapse later. So I'm afraid it's letdown Sunday for the Chicago Bears.
Yeah, if it was colder, then I'd say the Bears.
Yeah. Week 4, we got the Vegas game that is almost sold out. The ticket prices are outrageous for this game. We all checked the flights to Vegas during this weekend. I feel like this might be even like a home game for the Bears with the amount of Bears fans that I've heard that are going to be traveling. What are your thoughts on this game?
Oh yeah, the last time I went out, was it Vegas? Maybe it was Vegas for a Bears game. One of the West Coast places. I was on an airplane, Southwest Airlines, with a plane full of rowdy Bears fans. and they ran out of Bloody Mary mix, and the plane just about flipped. I mean, everybody was very angry. All these Bears fans, it was hilarious. So they're at Vegas, and right now I have the Bears at so what's my record so
1-2.
far?
1-2.
1-2.
I got to think this through. Like, I need the big picture thought. Yeah, this is a win for the Bears. This is a win for the Bears. I mean, like you said, virtual home crowd. Who knows what the hell is going on with the Raiders at that point? So yeah, this is a win for the Bears. I don't think it's gonna be an easy win, but that's a win for the Bears.
All right, and then again we get an early bye like last season, so that there's a gauntlet of 13 games after this.
Oh boy.
And that starts with probably the biggest revenge game, trying to avenge the loss on the Hail Mary last year that derailed the entire season against the Washington Commanders. And Jaden Daniels, that Caleb versus Jaden narrative.
Man,
It's like a must win. It's not a must win.
That's
Mark,
a good way to put it.
Mark,
Like,
I'd
the
like
Bears-
to preface this conversation by one thing.
Yeah.
Wasé over here was in another podcast last year, and he went viral. He had 1,000 views on a video in
More
which
than
he said Jaden Daniels is overrated.
Wow.
I still stand by it. I still think he's gonna regress.
The Commanders went out. They end up beating the Bears. So now this is not just vindication for the Bears. It's vindication for Wasé. So Mark, I need you to just at least give him a win here, so that Wasé has something to thump his chest over, and we can put this clip out again and say, "Hey, we're doubling down from last year."
I will give it a win because it is correct. You guys said it right. That's a damn must-win game.
Yeah.
That was like your kryptonite. Like, the superhero got killed last year for the Bears. Like, if you don't avenge yourself this year, then what are we talking about? And what we will be talking about at that point is, has Caleb Williams surpassed Jaden Daniels now?
Yes.
Is it gone? There you go. There you go. I got you guys.
That's that rah-rah stuff we need.
Mark,
I got you a win. Yeah.
after that game, have Wasé on. He'll give you the biggest Caleb rah-rah that you need. Give him
I
a
bet.
whole segment. He's there for you.
He's your every show's gotta have a diehard Caleb guy. So that's you, Wasé? Okay.
That's actually not me. It's actually Nadeem. When it comes to Chicago, like the Bears, I'm the delusional Bears fan. So in this set over here. But
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we all have our parts. Delusional Bears fan, stand behind the quarterback guy no matter what is Nadeem.
Yes.
And, by the way, is it Adil? Is it Adil, by the way?
Adil, but you know.
And Adil somehow is a Detroit Lions fan. I don't understand it, but I like it. Yeah.
So after all of that, after Wasé goes on the podcast and has his rah-rah speech, we're week 7 against the Saints, arguably the worst team in football, probably going to be picking at number 1 next year. This is a win, right?
Yeah, that is. It's a home game at Soldier Field, the classic noon game. I think that could be a blowout. I think that could be like hey, how you doing, everybody? Like, we'll all get really excited. It'll be like the Jacksonville game last year when we were all feeling so good about the Bears and Caleb Williams and hell, that was great. Yeah. But win. That's a win. Yeah.
The Bears are, if I'm not mistaken, 4-2 at this point.
Wow, we're doing
going
well.
into Baltimore and then Cincinnati.
Oh my God. You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take you guys behind the curtain. I think the Bears will win one of these games. I am in real time. I am trying in real time right now to decide which one they will win. I think you know what? I think they're going to lose to Baltimore after they're all high, because they're going to be all high about that blowout win over the Saints, and Caleb will have thrown for 4 touchdown passes, and DJ Moore will have had 150 yards, and everybody's going to feel great. And then they'll lose to Baltimore, and then they'll lose to Baltimore pretty badly too. And I think, and then I think they go into the next week with everybody saying that they're going to lose this game and they're headed for disaster. Let's get to that New York game quickly. They will win the Bengals game by a field goal.
I love it.
That's bold.
Yeah, I love it.
But
you
they did that in
you guys got them losing those 2 games?
I have them losing.
I'm not judging you.
I have the Bengals as a toss-up. That's a toss-up game for me. It can go either way for me. So, if their defense is so bad, then I think we have a chance.
There's some rugged teams, man. Those are tough, real ass teams.
Yeah.
I mean, I think Baltimore's a Super Bowl. Yeah.
Right.
So then if they beat Cincinnati, which would be an upset, They're looking forward to Minnesota in 2 weeks. A
Yeah.
division game that they have to avenge the loss for at Soldier Field. Is the Giants game a letdown game?
I mean, I think it will be a letdown game, but I think they scratch it out. I think that's an
All right.
ugly, yeah. That's like an ugly game. Like people will be like, man, coming off that Bengals win, you'd think the Bears would have been, because that's just like the way it's been with all of these quarterbacks the Bears have had through the years, and the offenses where you just don't see the multiple good performances. But I do think, yes, the Bears do win that game. It's kind of ugly, but it's the damn Giants, who by then will have no interest in winning football games anymore this year.
Wow. So no hope in the Giants D line.
No, I'm not giving it to them. And who's their
Okay.
quarterback? Who's the Giants quarterback? There you go. Yeah,
There you
I mean, be very interesting. You got Russ and the Giants, and then the Jets. I do believe it's a guy by the name of Justin Fields.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we have going into Minnesota 6-3, which is
Wow.
at that point a damn good season for all intents and purposes.
Yeah.
Are they splitting with the Vikings here?
Yeah, I think I might have to start coming up with some more losses here. But man, this is at Minnesota. Sorry. Do not feel good about that, because Jordan Addison will be back by then. JJ McCarthy or whomever is quarterbacking, I would like to think that they will probably be in rhythm, considering their head coach and Kevin O'Connell, how good he's been. So yeah, Bears lose.
All right, 6-4. This game also has a lot of importance because you are welcoming back Aaron Rodgers to Soldier Field one last time. This also is a must win. He cannot leave Soldier Field on top for his last time.
Boy, because I understand, like, this could just be a don't even think about it. Say the Bears win because it's Aaron Rodgers. Guys, bad things are going to happen that day. I hate to say it. It's Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry. That's a loss. Don't tell anybody. Yeah.
Oh, man. So 6-5. That would be brutal.
That hurts. That hurts.
That would be a backbreak. Yeah, that hurts.
Sorry. This is just like trying to tell it like it is can be pretty hard. Yeah.
Well, that's a backbreaker at that point.
I know. I'm sorry, man. I've let you down. Like, so that's 6-5 now. Is that where we're at? 11 games. Okay.
Yeah, 6-5, and then going to Philly.
Yeah.
They've had the Bears are going to lose the Philly game. The Bears have had some of the most brutal games in Philadelphia, through the years when Philadelphia's
LaShawn McCoy game.
Oh my God, dude.
Oh man.
Like, just some disasters. So I'm thinking they're going to carry on that disastrous feat.
Yeah.
And then going to Lambeau 6-6. A 6-3 season has now gone down the drain. But hey, Caleb Williams is undefeated at Lambeau. Is he going to stay undefeated?
The Bears will win 2 in a row at Lambeau Field. The Bears are back over 500. I don't want Thomas Brown to be a trivia question. I don't want in 10 years the trivia question to be, who was the last Bears head coach to win a game at Lambeau Field? And everybody's going, who was it? Oh, Thomas Brown, trick question. I don't want trick answers.
Win. All right. So a huge win against the Packers in Lambeau. And then it's got to be a win against the Browns, who are about to deploy 4 quarterbacks onto their starting roster. They don't know what they're doing out there.
I can't even.
They just named Flacco the starting QB, from my understanding.
Did they?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, quarterback now.
Hey man, if Flacco doesn't work, they got a bunch of guys waiting, man. They've seen the world. They're pretty well covered.
Yeah.
I definitely, I can't even try to be cute here and say the Bears are going to get upset. Of course they're going to beat the damn Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
So that's 8-6. Green Bay at home. This could be like a win and you're on track for the playoffs.
The Bears are going to lose that game. They just can't. There's just, the Bears, not look, guys, I've been doing this for a while. The Bears are not sweeping the Green Bay Packers. It just doesn't happen. Hearts are broken at Soldier Field with the Packers. And, I know Jordan Love's been a bit banged up, but he'll be healthy by then. And I hope that he continues on with his poor play. But I do think that the Packers are going to win that game. Yeah.
So they're at 8-7.
8-7. Okay. All right. 2 to go.
Going to San Fran.
Going to San Fran, I mean, after last year's disaster there where they just forgot about George Kittle, I think that they recover this year. Maybe somebody gets that tape to Dennis Allen very quickly, and the Bears win that game at San Francisco.
Wow, that's an upset.
Revenge, guys.
Let's
Yeah.
go.
We're
Okay,
easy off
that's
over there.
huge. And then last game, 9-7, going into the last game against Detroit.
Man,
Are you calling double-digit wins for the Bears in 2025?
this is it. Drum roll. Bears are going to lose that last game.
Oh
They're not.
my
Oh,
gosh!
Yeah, I'm sorry. I know.
My
I didn't want to
gosh.
do it. I didn't want to do it, but
You
that's.
brought us
I
in,
got
Mark.
to 9 wins. I know. Hey, guys, 9-8 after
Great
a season
season.
in which they were 5-12 and lost 10 straight games. That's a great season.
Great season.
That's
That's a great season.
There you go.
Mark,
That's a
Mark
great
it
season.
down. Mark it down.
I don't know what
9-8.
your beef is with Soldier Field. You got the Bears losing to the Lions, the Packers Light,
The
and
Vikings.
the Steelers, the Vikings. What's going on here?
Well,
Why?
And the Cowboys.
And the Cowboys.
guys, I've covered 2 10-game losing streaks in the
Yeah.
last 3 years. I've been hurt. I mean, I've been traumatized. It doesn't matter where they're playing. They're London, Soldier Field, Spain. Like, it doesn't matter where they are. So I honestly, like, I didn't realize that. I'm glad that you picked up the trend on that. But unfortunately, with a team that has been this bad over the last few years, like, I just can't even use Soldier Field to their benefit at this point. It hurts, but it's true.
Hey, Matt Eberflus had a 7-game home win streak. He was pretty solid. Should mean something.
Which was amazing.
Yeah.
Well, what a great thing to remember. Like,
Yeah.
that's like the best thing I could think of from the whole Matt Eberflus era. That's awesome. That's great. I'm glad you brought that up.
So we have a 9-win season. I predicted the same. I have 9
Okay,
wins.
you
Just
got
in different ways.
Yeah.
We
No, I
slice the
bet.
pie in different ways.
Oh, I'll get you
Mark-
to places in weird ways. That's my whole life.
Hey,
Yep.
Mark, at the beginning of the year, I did an exercise where I did the entire schedule. I had the Bears at 4 wins. Now, after training camp, I'm probably going to bump this number up, but is 4 wins within your guys' wheelhouse? Do you think that things can go that bad?
No.
I don't think so. Again, this goes back to they can't go that bad. They just can't. No, I don't think this is not. Look, I mean, and I don't want to like go back to the whole season last year with the Bears, but there were a lot of games that could have gone either way. And I know that's like the
Yeah.
losers lament, but if you really want to go back and look, too many times where even though it sucked and it was a legit 10-game losing streak, it's not like they could not have won about 5 of those games. So
Yeah.
you're going to win some of the games that you should have won last year, at least games that you're involved in, obviously not necessarily the same teams. It appears that the Bears have a competent coaching staff. I have thought that before, so we'll wait and see. So, and then Caleb Williams and a lot of guys being in the second year, Roma Dunze, Caleb Williams, Cole Kmet, all these guys working together, DJ Moore, getting that chemistry on. 4 wins. Yeah, I'm well on the over.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like last year, I think it hurt more because we're not used to seeing the Bears be in these games when they're losing so much. They usually get blown out or just not even having a chance. And to see the Packers game being lost on a blocked field goal, to see the Vikings game coming back from that deficit, an onside kick goes your way, your quarterback's able to drive down the field, your kicker makes the kick, everything went right until the end.
Yeah.
And then the Lions game, right, which was probably the worst clock management we've ever seen from a head coach in the history of the National Football League.
We got a head coach fired. You guys should have seen that. That locker room was something. I swear to God, I think there was smoke in the Bears locker room that day. It was so weird walking in there, man, because you knew, something went down in here, and it was going down in that locker room. We didn't get to see it, but you could just feel it with the Jalen Johnson stuff and challenging Matt Eberflus and all that stuff.
Was that game one of the, I guess, most eerie, weirdest, or just a bad vibes, negative energy? Was that the most that you've seen covering the Bears?
I mean, it might be. I mean, it's not even just for how it crashed and burned in the end. If you guys remember that, I don't have the stats in front of me, but the first half stats were a joke. Like the Bears were just embarrassed. Like there's some jarring numbers that occurred. So the fact that the Bears were in that game is another real weird part of the story because they just were so god awful in the first half. And then, the nonsense and look, it had been building. Like there had been, just bullet point after bullet point of mistakes by Matt Eberflus going back to early on in the season, just thing after, and some of the personnel that they were using, the Doug Kramer running the ball thing. I mean, I could just sit here and, yeah, right.
Oh
I
my
mean, I'm playing the
gosh.
hits right now. It's like a
Yeah.
Taylor Swift song I'm playing right now. It's like all these things that happened with the Bears that were on Matt Eberflus leading up to that moment, and then the egregiousness of it all, where like none of us could make an excuse for him anymore, and that included, for better or for worse, the Bears management, who decided that's enough. We've had enough.
Yeah. Thank God that
Yeah, it's
happened.
interesting because you're thinking like I haven't thought about it in a while. But where we are now, back then I would not have figured that the Bears management would actually make a move like this to bring in the top head coaching candidate in the NFL, actually getting that guy and instilling so much confidence into your fan base and your team.
Which is why, like, for the first time in a while, again, talking about, you guys are asking me about polls earlier, like, ownership kind of gets a fresh start with me. Like, this is the first year in a while where they did everything right in the offseason as it pertains to what's going on the field. They went out and they got that guy. With Kevin Warren gets some credit for that. And look, we've all been hard on Kevin Warren. We've all been hard on George McCaskey. We've been critical more than we haven't been, but I give those guys a thumbs up for the team that they seem to have put together on the field this year. So they kind of get their own fresh start. If they act like this, and then just going back to, I was going to build the point on the fact that, yeah, they fired a head coach for the first time in their franchise's history, excuse me, in season. So if they're starting to do things differently, if this is ownership, thumbs up to them.
Yeah. All right. So last question on the Bears, on the NFL, and then we'll just talk about the Cubs for a really quick second. What is your Super Bowl prediction?
Boy, Bears will play. No, I'm just kidding. I'm going to go. I think I gave it away a little bit in the AFC. I really think Baltimore goes there this year. Do you think? I mean, this might be naive to do because we just don't see it a lot anymore. I like Philly to go back. I really do.
Oh,
wow. Yeah, I like Philly to go back, and repeats just don't happen. It feels like, unless you're the Kansas City Chiefs. So I think Baltimore wins it all. I think that they win it all in a close Super Bowl against the Philadelphia Eagles. That's where I am right now. As you guys could tell, I'm a little nervous going with Philadelphia, just because of how we see teams let the proverbial foot off the pedal. It seems like after they win in the NFL. That's where I'm going right now.
Yeah, I think it's tough because who's going to overtake them, right? The Lions just lost 2 of their coordinators. The last time we saw a team do that was the Eagles in 23. And there doesn't seem to be like a real contender in the NFC after that.
All right.
Yeah, I agree with you. And like, it wouldn't surprise me in the least if Detroit climbs back to the top and they get back in there as well. So, but like that's not taking anything away from them or some of these other teams in both conferences. But that's just the way I feel right now.
Awesome. All right. So shifting gears a little bit to something a little less optimistic. We had one of the best offensive performances we've ever seen in a first half by a baseball team in this town. The Cubs were on fire with Kyle Tucker, Pete Crow Armstrong, both being named to the All-Star team. They were both high MVP candidates. This week, a huge series at home against the Brewers. Before the All-Star break, the Cubs were almost a shoo-in to take the first place in the Central. Now they find themselves 9 games back in the NL Central. The Brewers seem to be able to do no wrong. I just want your thoughts on what the hell happened to this offense. What is going on with the Brewers? How is Kyle Tucker being benched for a couple of days? Craig Counsell noted today. What happened to this season?
It's wild, man. I mean, all offenses are going to slump. All players are going to slump. I covered baseball intimately for 3 years with the Cubs doing pre and post. So I saw it all. I saw the rhythms of 162. I understood the mentality, understood how baseball players thought. But when the hold on one second. When the slumps get as bad as they are, then you've got guys not knowing how to snap out of it. Like I was talking about this on the radio today when it comes to Kyle Tucker. I don't think anybody up until today, and as you mentioned, he's going to get a couple of days off finally. Nobody's known how to handle this situation, because you can't sit there and tell me that he's not still your most valuable hitter, or like somehow he's bad now all of a sudden. So nobody knows what to do. Do you sit the guy down? Do you put him on the injured list? Are we mad at him? Cubs fans are like, do we boo him? Which has been
Yeah.
happening. Like, it's very awkward. A guy that we were talking about as a $500 million player, a guy whose at bats we were breaking down and saying, look at this guy, look at how he's just a professional player. And now it's gotten so bad, as I said, he's being booed. Now he gets some days off. I think that's I'm zeroing in on him because that's a microcosm of it. You could pick any player, PCA, Ian Happ, Dansby Swanson, guys that you saw thriving early in the season, and now it's just they just pop up every once in a while. And ironically, Matt Shaw, the guy who I thought was lost for the season in terms of just
Yeah.
kind of be lost in his head and physically, like he's the one that's thriving. So it's hard to explain what has gone on with the Cubs, but I use one word to describe how I feel right now. I'm not ready to say the Cubs are going to choke this thing away or that they won't be in the playoffs, but I'm scared. Like there's a fear factor, and not just because of the Brewers, just because of the Cubs. Cubs aren't going to catch the Brewers in the division.
No.
It would take an immaculate slump for the Brewers to blow this thing at this point. So it's wild card, full speed ahead, which is very attainable. But I do have a certain fear factor right now for the Cubs, just of what's going on, because it has been just so, the slumps have been so bad, and there are very few answers other than sit guys down.
Yeah, I think the confusion to me lies, especially when you bring a guy like Owen Casey up, who's been hyped up throughout almost the entire season as one, a trade candidate, but then two, your main prospect. You bring him up, you don't even play him against the Pirates for a team that just looks lost offensively. And this team has shown us that their identity is offense. We don't have the caliber in the starting pitching to really provide depth to make a huge run if the offense takes a step back.
Yeah,
Now,
well,
none of us saw the offense taking this big of a step back,
right.
but
There's almost no explaining it. That's the problem. Like I said, like, the easy answer is everybody slumps. Not everybody slumps this badly.
no, yeah,
And under these circumstances, as far as Owen Casey is concerned, yeah, I was a bit baffled by that as well, especially considering his first game. I know he was 0 for 4, but he was 0 for 4 for 5. He hit the ball really hard, the first 3 times. I liked his approach at the plate. And then all of a sudden he's sitting down. That didn't make sense to me. When you have guys like Ian Happ and Kyle Tucker and even PCA who you can sit down for a day and let's see what the kid has. I'm not here to tell anybody that Owen Casey is like the guy that you're going to have starting in game 1 of a playoff series, but in the now, yeah, you got to do something.
yeah, because I have never seen. I've been watching Cubs. I mean, you've been watching Cubs baseball way longer than I have, but in 25 years, never once seen such a yin and yang season where one year, like, we saw a historic offense. This offense was plugging on all cylinders, just everybody was hitting. And then within the span of 2 weeks, everybody decides to slump at the exact same time. Obviously, you have the injury to Justin Steele, which is huge.
Yeah.
You have another injury to Miguel Amaya, you were excited to get back because you're starting Reese McGuire out there,
Yeah.
and there's no real continuity. So there's still 4 games up on the wild card. Do you see any optimism heading in, or do you kind of see like this being like a 4 or like an 18 where they're kind of crashing out and burning?
Yeah, or even a 2023. They were, if you guys remember that? Like, they were at a 92% chance of going to the playoffs in September.
Yeah.
And guess what they weren't doing? Hitting.
Hitting.
So that is, I am still comfortable. And I think it's sort of like the tenor of this conversation. It's got to end, right? Kyle Tucker doesn't
Yeah.
suck, right? PCA doesn't suck, right? Ian Happ was an all-star, right? I mean, like, Dansby Swanson is the highest paid player on the Cubs, right? It's like all this stuff that you look at all these different players and you say they can get it back on. And I will say that although you don't have, as you correctly said, the depth of starting pitching, you do in a short series have some pretty good arms to throw up there in Matthew Boyd and Shota Imanaga, and who am I leaving out? Jameson Tyone is going to be coming back here very soon.
Oh, Cade Horton's been good.
Yeah, that's who I was forgetting. I knew there. I was like,
Yeah.
a name in my brain that's not wanting to come out right now. Yes, Cade Horton as well. So yeah, in a short, I feel pretty good about the starting pitching. The one thing too that I was thinking about, and I haven't really expressed this yet with the Cubs hitting, like, well, come September and then October, we all know what happens with the weather in Chicago. It gets and in the
Oh
Midwest,
yeah.
Midwest baseball, it gets nasty. It gets harder to hit the baseball. That's when, like, there's an excuse for only 3 runs crossing the plate. So, I'd like to see
Yeah.
them take advantage of the warmth that's left and the ability with the wind blowing out, put some runs together, man, and, like, at least have a sense of confidence going into the postseason. But I haven't given up postseason hopes yet.
Yeah, because it's odd because that the pitching that we're really not giving credit for has actually held up their end of the bargain pretty well during this slump, and it's just the hitting that hasn't really come through. But like you said, I mean, we saw the best team of the Cubs, the best version in 2016, 2015, 2017. Once that weather came, they had huge slumps and just droughts of runs where they needed to turn it on for 3. I just remember the Dodgers series. I remember the Indian series and the World Series. That offense just went blank for a couple games. This team is so reliant on that that I don't think that they can afford to let that happen.
Yeah, it's dangerous when you depend on run, and we don't even think about it. When you're in the thick of it, when the Cubs were in the thick of averaging 5, 6 runs a game, everybody's just so excited. You're not thinking about really what happens if they score 2 fewer runs now, and you're
Yeah.
not covering up occasional issues for the bullpen. You're not covering up occasional issues for the starting pitching. If you throw a Javier Assad in there or a Ben Brown in there for a start, or even a Colin Ray, if you're not perfect, you're not going to have that cover up, which was the runs. And so the whole system just kind of breaks down because you were winning because of run differential for the longest time.
Yeah. And I think last question, just to wrap up on this. I mean, going forward, this season to me was about Kyle Tucker. Are you going to extend him or are you going to let him walk? Now you're definitely not going to extend him, but how do you improve this team that just flips a switch on offense? I mean, you have pieces you can move, but where is the issue? Because it seems like it's at all 9 positions on the diamond right now.
Well, and that's where it gets tough because you have to believe that, and I haven't ruled out the Cubs signing Kyle Tucker to the long-term deal. This is where a general manager, scouts, everybody has to be able to project and say, is there some fatal flaw going on with Kyle Tucker? Maybe he's injured. I mean, we've heard about the finger maybe being banged up, and that's
Yeah.
nobody's really denying that he might be hurting. So you have to take that all into consideration if you're the Cubs and say, is this what he is? Or does he still project as a superstar player, the guy that we were, comparing to the greats, the current greats of the game at the
Yeah.
beginning of, right? I mean, he was in that. So I have a hard time believing that conversation is just over. Everything that he did is null and void and it's deleted and it never happened. So he's got to snap out of this thing. There's still time for him, close to 40 games left to snap out of this thing and get back to some semblance of what he was. He may have lost a few $1 million on that contract. And
Oh yeah.
that's
Yeah.
probably happened. But I still think that, I don't know, maybe you think differently. I don't think like Kyle Tucker all of a sudden just sucks. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I think that the range probably went down from like 500 at the top end to 350, but
yeah.
I can't see Jed dishing out that money.
Yeah, I mean,
350 is a lot.
it is. I think there was a time. I think Jed Hoyer would want to. I mean, let's be real. The issue
Yeah.
is convincing Tom Ricketts, and I think Tom Ricketts. We joked around about being hurt in sports. I think that Tom Ricketts has been hurt before with some of the free agents that Jed and or Theo at the end of Theo's reign, and now he's like Tom's a little bit more like fold the arms. Let me be a little more side eyed about this whole
Yeah.
situation. But I think when Kyle was in the midst of doing great stuff this year, I think it's still on. Like again, we don't have to be level-headed, the 4 of us, for 162 games, but the Cubs are level-headed about it, and they know what kind of a player he is. He's not going to get $500
Yeah.
million at this point,
Yeah.
but would they pay him $350 million? I would not rule it out.
All right. And then last question, who goes farther then? The Cubs or the Bears?
I think the Cubs, because I didn't necessarily say the Bears were going to the playoffs, right?
9 wins.
You
9
should.
wins a lot.
You should.
9 wins is a lot.
You
Yeah.
should. You should. You probably should.
Yeah.
I think the Cubs, because do you guys know that the Bears have had, I think, 5 playoff wins since 1986. They don't win a lot of playoff games. They
Yeah.
get there. they get there. They got there in 2018, and it was a hell of a fun season. We talk about
Yeah.
2018 every chance we get on the Take the
Yeah.
North podcast. But yeah, it just so I do think, yeah, it's a great question, but I'm gonna say the Cubs go farther. But Bears 9 wins, which might put them in the postseason.
Take it.
Yeah.
We'll take it.
All right. Well, Mark, thank you so much for coming on to the podcast. This has been
Yeah.
an incredible conversation, and we so much appreciate your time. And we'd love to have you on more if you have some free time during the season.
Sure.
So come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, guys, it was my pleasure. You guys are fun. I wish you great. I love that you guys are doing the podcast. You guys seem to get it. And yeah, I'd love to come on with you guys. It might be hard to pin me down because it's hard for my bosses to pin me down right now. So I can't. I will not be pinned down. I will not be pinned down. But no, I promise you guys, I will come on with you guys again. Absolutely, 100%.
We appreciate it, Mark.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mark.
My pleasure, guys.
Take care.
Mark, take care. See you soon.
Yep. All right, gents.
A huge thank you to Mark Grote for coming on and doing our Bears preview. For Wasé and Adil, I'm Nadeem. Thank you guys so much for logging in and watching Into the Wild. Subscribe to the podcast at Into the Wild on YouTube, Into the Wild NFL on Instagram and TikTok. And don't forget, week 1, Bears Vikings, MOTW Lombard. Be there. We're going to have food. We're going to have a live stream, trivia, games. It's going to be a great time. And hopefully, unlike what Mark said, a Bears win. Thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Coming for the hate watch. Let's do it.
Adil's coming. We're all going to have a great time. So hope to see you guys there. We will see you next time on Into the Wild.
Peace.